Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's edition of Boredom Busters. It's Friday already, and this whole week we have been doing earth sciences. So if you are liking these videos, go ahead and tag a friend so you can watch it together. And if you tag a friend within the first 2 minutes, we will put your name into a drawing. We'll do it on Monday, and the drawing will be for a fun art or science kit, and we will let you know Monday what fun prize you've won and how you can collect that. All right, so our Earth Sciences unit that we've been doing, it is all based around, there is a world initiative for Earth Sciences that's happening on the 30th of this month called Earth Hour. So kind of just getting people thinking about parts of our Earth and how everything works together. So this week we've already learned about rocks and trees and a bunch of other fun things. Today, our main focus is sand. So you can start out by talking to your little ones about sand. What is it? Where can you find it? Now, we have everything that I'm going to show you today is linked below, and you'll be able to print it out at home or just look at it on your screen if you'd like. So this is our little menu for today. Lots of fun things on there. The first one, though, to answer the question of where can you find some sand, we have this little puzzle. We've got some dotted lines on it, so you can cut along the dotted lines. If you've got some little ones, if you've got some older ones, go ahead and cut some wiggly lines, make it a little bit trickier. Now, I cut mine out, put it into an envelope, glued on the little header so I know what it is, so we can do it over and over again. And as you do it, you'll find that Kazoo, of course, our adorable Kazoo, the cuckoo, and the clock, is on the beach. And the beach, you can find beaches at lakes or at oceans, sometimes even on the banks of rivers. Now there is one place that you can find sand. Now to make that connection from the sand to the ocean habitats, we have some fun. This is our song for the day. It is about the oceans. So we have our 5 oceans on the planet. It's a cute little song so you can remember all 5. Now, who lives in the ocean? Why, fish, of course. So we have this fun little game that we have available for you to print off at home, and it is kind of like the game Guess Who. So what you do, have your kid pick one, but not tell you which one they've chosen, and then you ask questions to try to guess which fish they have chosen. You could ask about, well, does the fish have yellow on it? And they will say yes or no. And if they say yes, well, now you're down to 2 of them. If they say no, oh boy, you still have a lot to go. And you can switch, you choose one, have your child ask questions. And then just the best book for today is, of course, The Rainbow Fish. We have that linked below to listen to. It is a great story. I'm sure we all remember it from when we were kids too. So make sure to give that a listen. Now, for our craft today, I have to make a little fish. Now, I used a paper plate. If you don't have paper plates in your home, you can just go ahead, cut a nice big circle out of some paper. Now here it is, I'll demonstrate with this plate. So what you need to do first is to cut out a wedge from your plate. And this wedge, it is the mouth of the fish, but then when you turn it around, it becomes the tail. Now I found that using a glue stick on this part here with my kind of glossy paper plates here and the heavier weight of it, the glue stick did not work so well. So just use a little piece of tape here. I'll tape that tail on. You put it at an angle, you have it sticking out however you like on there. Now there's my little fish, just the base there. Now I've got scraps of some fun colors here. Now you can use scratch paper. Some of those mailers come out and they're printed on one side, but they've got lots of fun colors. Or if you have tissue paper, that can be fun as well. And then you just cut out I stack mine up so don't have to cut as many. So if you're prepping it for your kid, I'd recommend doing it this way. But if your kid's the one who's gonna be cutting out the scales, it might be a little easier for them to do it one sheet at a time. So now there we go. I have a nice little selection of scales here. And the way that you're going to want to put these on, so you can get the nice scale pattern, I just rub on a little bit of glue stick and start on the outside edge. That way, let's see, get a couple on here. When you get this layer, you can still see that nice rounded scale edge, the way that those go on like that. Now you can do a pattern, or you can just put them on whatever order you want. Now, if you happen to have a googly eye, it's a fun little addition on there for the eye, but if not, an old button, or you can even just draw one on, and that works just fine as well. All right, now, since the fish live in the ocean, let's get back to that sand. Now, everybody has probably played with kinetic sand here and there, and it is so fun. But we're all stuck inside right now. So if you have any play sand, any kind at all, you can make your own. So I have here, this is a coarser grain of sand. And when you pull out the sand, talk to your kids. You know, they might not realize it yet, but sand is really just tiny, tiny rocks, because those bigger rocks have eroded down into smaller pieces. In my play sand here, it's a little bit of a larger grain. And the larger grain, that kind of sand is usually found near lakes or rivers, and that would be because there's less erosion happening than at the beach, where the sand grain is usually finer because of those waves just pounding and pounding on the shore. All right, so we've got this recipe listed down below, but here we go. Let's make it together. Now, you're going to need 1 cup of sand. So here I have, this is a 1/2 cup measuring cup. So how many halves in one whole? It's gonna be 2. And this is a good time also to talk to your kids about using a measuring cup or spoon. Because here, if they put this in and say, here you go, well, is that full? Is that really a 1/2 cup? It's not. Now we wanna make sure that we're getting it, not over full either. We want it to be just a nice and even measure on there. So 1/2, and now we're gonna shake that down, make it nice and flat. 1/2, so 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1 whole. All right, and into this sand, all you need for cornstarch here, ingredients, we got the sand, cornstarch, water, and some dish soap. Now the cornstarch, you need 1/2 tablespoon of the cornstarch. And now not all measuring spoon sets come with a 1/2 tablespoon measure. So if that's the case for you, then go ahead and do just a little bit, about 1.5 teaspoons. There you go, there's our 1/2 tablespoon of cornstarch. You're gonna mix that together. I like just using the spoon that I used to measure with. That way I get all of the cornstarch out of it. Now, mix it together until you can't really see any of that white in there anymore. All right, next we need to make our water solution. Now here we have 1 cup of water. You can also talk about, this is a fun part here, with how the angle makes it look like there's a different amount in the cup. So you need to make sure when you're measuring your liquids, you look at it straight on. Because if I look at it from the top, it looks like it has more than a cup in it. Less important for this one, but a good lesson. All right, then you're going to need 1 teaspoon of dish soap. Let's see, let's get that in there. And I chose a nice long-handled teaspoon here so that, again, I could just use that to stir. And you want to stir that all up until you start to see some bubbles on the top. If your kid is the one who's doing this, you might want to use a bigger measuring cup or pour the water into a larger cup. I'm having trouble keeping it from splooshing over the edges as it is. All right. Our next step is going to be to combine our liquid with our sand. And now, just as a note here, you don't know exactly how much of this you're going to need. So start out with just a little bit and start mixing it together. Now, the properties of kinetic sand, what makes it so fun is that you can mold with it, you can build with it, you can turn it into just about anything. All right, let's see. So now, since my sand is a coarser grain, it looks like that was more than plenty of that liquid there. If you have a finer grain, you can always use, you're gonna need a little bit more. So now, since I have some extra here, pop that in there. Just a smidge more of the cornstarch. Dry it out a little bit. And now, of course, we all know cornstarch and water, that fun oobleck. So we're getting a little bit of that action in here, as well as the soap is actually acting to, makes the pieces slide past, but also stick a little bit. And then there we go. Dump that out, mix it together a little bit more, and you have moldable sand that you can build with. Now, it is, of course, going to be a little bit different than the store-bought, but it's still pretty fun. There we go. Build a little sand castle. Of course, use a tray for this. All right, now we also have an active activity for today. If you all remember the crab walk. So crabs also live in the sand, right? They live on the shores of the lakes, they live by the oceans, and that crab walk, and then you lean back and walk like this so you can get your kids going with this movement. And when you go out for your walk today through your neighborhoods, you can challenge them to go up the hill or down the hill. Which way is easier? Which way is more difficult? Why is that? You can also grab some chalk, draw a line on your driveway or on your sidewalk and challenge your kids to that line. And it is pretty difficult because when you're up like this, where is that line? All right, now Mandy, I have a joke for you.
Okay.
How do the oceans say hi to each other?
I don't know.
They wave. All right, that is our Boredom Busters for today, for Friday. We hope you all enjoyed it and have fun with these activities. We want to hear about how you're doing these. So if you make the fish, if you end up doing anything fun that we did today, go ahead and post some pictures so everyone else can see how much fun you're all having and we can see what you're doing with our activities. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow, 10:30, for a little bit more earth science.